Following up on an article I used in my main segment, I wanted to highlight how even leftists are starting to acknowledge, you know what? The economy is too good and it's actually causing problems for Democrats. Yes, you heard me say it. A good economy is bad news for Democrats. Now you may think that seems strange. No, I mean, let's be honest. If you're watching my videos, you know exactly why that's bad news for Democrats, because when it comes to politics, it's not about whether or not the country is doing well. It's whether or not the political faction can win in the end. And if Donald Trump is doing right by the economy, then you can say all the nasty words in the world and people are still going to vote for him. The Democrats can pretend to play nice. They don't, but they can pretend. And if the economy is good, who's going to vote for him? So what do? They've tried pretending the economy was bad. They've tried lying. There was even a story, I think it was from Vox as well. I think it was actually Matt Iglesias who wrote this article, where he said something to the effect of, most people believe they did not get a tax break, which is a messaging victory for progressives, because in reality, they did. So you go fact check me on this one, but basically, the middle class got a tax cut. It's a fact. You know, Trump gave everybody a tax cut. And progressives had tried convincing everybody they didn't because they want to win. To me, that's freaky. But now they have no choice. The economy is too good. You can't lie anymore. These regular people in the middle of the country are seeing their paychecks. I've talked to like minimum wage employees who are telling me about how raises are coming through. Well, I was told by one person that because of the tax cuts, the company started giving raises to everybody. And I'm like, I thought trickle down didn't work. Now, for the most part, I don't think it does. I got to be honest. I think a lot of the tax breaks will get put in an account and some kind of investment. But some of it does come down. So I can't argue with somebody who works a minimum wage job and says, once Trump pushed the corporate tax cuts through, I got a raise. They're happy about it. What do you want me to say? And we tell them, no, you should be mad. Let's read what they say. Matt Iglesias of Vox writes, President Donald Trump, with his typical flair for saying things that aren't true, has proclaimed we're living through the greatest economy in our nation's history. Full stop. What do you mean not true? How do you define greatest? It's an opinion. It's the weirdest thing. They're saying Trump's lying about the greatest economy. Do you know this is the longest economic expansion in U.S. history? I think it's fair to say that that could qualify as the greatest economy in U.S. history, right? But they say it's a lie. Now, look, I think if we're going to be fair and aggregate all of the data, it's fair to say we're in one of the best, not necessarily the greatest, but come on, man. Greatest is an opinion. How is an opinion not true? It's just so ridiculous. Some people could argue that a recession is a great economy for its corrective measures. It's just an opinion. He says it isn't, but something can in fact be quite good even without being the best ever. The unemployment rate is 3.5%, the stock market is at an all-time high, the poverty rate is falling, employers have started showing refreshing willingness to hire people with criminal records because there just aren't that many conventionally qualified people left to hire. But I thought they needed the illegal immigrants because Americans didn't want to do these jobs. No, the fact is it's not true. Even convicted criminals who people normally don't want to hire are getting jobs because the market needs to hire people. I don't know what Trump did, but when Vox comes out and says, y'all, Trump is doing this, yikes, that's bad news for the Democrats, isn't it? That's good news for American workers, and probably good news for Trump's re-election campaign. It also poses the question of what exactly Democrats should say about an improving economic situation. They need to find a way to make the case for change, but also to connect with the sentiments being experienced by voters. At Thursday's debate, there seemed to be a firm consensus among the candidates that the right path is simply to deny that the economy really is performing all that strongly. The wealthy, very wealthy, are growing. Ordinary people are not growing, said former Vice President Joe Biden, probably the least radical candidate in the field. They are not happy with where they are, and that's why we must change the presidency now. This might work. Certainly, Trump massively overstated problems with the economy in 2016, making up wildly inflated unemployment numbers and won the election. But legitimately, most indicators really are looking good these days. And that's not just superficial ones that mask hideous problems beneath the surface. Let me reiterate for all of you. Vox is saying that the Democratic strategy is to deny the fact the economy is doing well. So here's where I find myself in an interesting position. There's a funny story in the New York Mag, Tulsi Gabbard and the return of the anti-Trump left. Yes, they go on to smear people from the Hill for some reason and never make the cut. And I'm a bit let down. As a big fan of Tulsi Gabbard and moderate leftist, don't I get to be an anti-Trump left? Look, the reality is Trump has a slew of character defects, to put it lightly. But the economy is doing really, really well, and you can't deny it. And so I want you to go to one of these, poor people in the middle of the country and say, I don't care what you want, or lie to them, and then tell them you want to elect someone who's talking about giving healthcare to non-citizens. They're going to look at you like you're nuts. So if we really want to be sane, rational individuals who can actually win on principle and shape the country the way we want to, the way that, in opposition to Donald Trump's cultural values, you don't do it by lying. You do it by saying, gotta be honest, Trump was right by the economy and he's helped a lot of people. What can we do from there to be better? Well, the Democrats' strategy is apparently just lie. It's not going to work in today's day and age. People have the internet. People can watch videos from people like me where I'm going to tell you, yeah, Trump, character defects. We get it. Do we really care? Look, I don't like the way that Trump talks. I don't like the way he behaves. And you'll find that from most people, even his own voters. But how will you deny what he's done for the American people? You can't do it, even if you hate him. So when the Democrats come out and lie and say things like the economy's just not doing well, only for the wealthy, and you've got middle-class people looking at their paychecks and their pay raises saying, y'all are lying to me. And even the people who aren't seeing raises are seeing in the news all day, every day, the economy's doing well. They're like, you're lying to me. So this is what we get. We get these smear pieces. So I'll tell you this, man. The left is finally starting to admit it. You can't run from it. You can hate and scream and kick and yell all you want, but the economy is doing great and people love it. But they're still going to write these weird smear pieces that show us one important fact. The Republicans are unified and the left is fractured to bits. Now they want to say Tulsi Gabbard and the return of the anti-Trump left. And I love how they smear people like me and other leftists who like Bernie or like Tulsi because we exist. We just think your lying doesn't make sense. We just think you're not going to win by being duplicitous and deceitful. We need to recognize that people in this country are trying to make their lives better, and they're not as concerned about the nasty words of the orange man. Sorry. It's just not going to impact them. And you got to recognize, too, a lot of people really like the nasty words of the orange man. Tulsi Gabbard, in my opinion, takes a principled approach, and she tried to avoid being partisan with the impeachment vote. She said, you know what, present. It was a protest against the rapid and rabid partisanship that was engulfing the process. And while she believes Trump did wrong, she didn't want to partake in a partisan process. So what do? They smear her and anyone who dare defend her when she's basically the only Democrat, as far as I'm concerned, who's actually concerned about the divisions in our country and trying to unite them. Now, she takes a very anti-Trump stance that even I think is a little bit further left than I would. I think Trump is not that bad, okay? I don't like the guy, not going to vote for the guy. There's a lot of reasons for that. But ultimately, he's following the footsteps of so many other presidents. And I got to be honest, there's very few presidents I actually cared to vote for. And I've only been through, a handful of elections in my life anyway. But anyway, back to the main point. I'm wondering how long until even Vox will be smeared by some of these establishment personalities for saying something positive about Donald Trump. Because they're trying to play this game that Tulsi Gabbard's a Russian asset, that her supporters are fake Russians or otherwise. No, actually really respect her, and I think she's principled, and I think she served in the armed forces, and I think she's talking sense, and they don't like that. But again, I'll wrap up that point and say this. The left admits it. We're fractured. We're fractured 6 ways from Sunday. And the Republicans are completely unified around Trump. And you know what does not help is this. Let's read a little bit more of this story from Vox. What doesn't help is that they lie about what's happening. I won't lie to you. I can be wrong. I'm wrong often. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I don't know everything, but I'll never lie. If the economy's doing well, I'm going to be like, what do you want me to say, man? It is. And if that's what you need, then I understand why you would vote in that direction. I think we need something better. We need change. We need personality, charisma, but also policies that will continue the course of strengthening the economy. I do also think some of Trump's policies are regressive. That's why I really like Andrew Yang. Yang says, you look at these auto manufacturers, you don't see immigrants, you see robots. He's right. So I'll tell you this, if Trump appointed Tulsi and Yang, he'd have a strong position for a lot of the politically homeless to vote for him. Because one of the biggest problems I see with the presidency has always been the abuse of military power. And I think Trump definitely would need a more progressive voice on economics like Yang. I don't think Yang's freedom dividend necessarily is a complete thought. I like the idea, but more importantly, you look at what the Democrats are saying. Andrew Yang says no minimum wage, it's not the problem. And you're like, oh, wow. And he says, he talks about issues that Democrats ignore, and they lie about the economy. Let's read a little bit more. They say, more importantly for political purposes, Most voters are clearly saying they feel the economy is doing well. Trying to talk them out of that might be counterproductive compared to the possibility of simply trying to argue about something else. The Democrats running for president disagree about a lot, but they seem united in rejecting the premise of moderator Judy Woodruff's question. What is your argument to the voter watching this debate tonight who may not like everything President Trump does, but they really like this economy, and they don't know why they should make a change? All the leading Democrats argued that actually the economy is bad. Joe Biden, I don't think they really do like the economy. Look at the middle class neighborhoods. The middle class is getting killed. The middle class is getting crushed. Mayor Buttigieg, the economy is not working for most of us. Elizabeth Warren, a rising GDP, rise in corporate profits is not being felt by millions of families. Bernie Sanders, Trump goes around saying the economy is doing great. You know what real inflation accounting for wages went up last year? 1.1, that ain't great. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to I tend to keep these segments short, so I will. But how can you have all leading Democrats lie to your face like that? Lie to your face. Let me tell you something. Vox, certified by NewsGuard, green check marks across the board, except they don't differentiate between opinion very well, is a leftist website telling you the economy is doing well. Admit it. Donald Trump is telling you the same thing. Yet when you turn on that TV and look at the Democratic debate, what do they say? No, don't believe them. Don't believe what you see with your own eyes and hear with your ears and feel in your hearts. It's not true. Trust us, the snake oil salesmen who are the only ones who can save you from what doesn't exist. The economy is doing well. We don't need your help. We don't need to be saved from anything. It's going great. So if you want to defeat Trump, you got to figure out what Americans are looking for that he isn't delivering on. And that's why I've said the key advantage Democrats would have is if they came out, agreed with a bunch of his domestic policy and trade policy, but had a bit more charisma behind them and didn't play the insulting people and calling them horseface game. I still think people would vote for Trump because he's got a lot of people who love that he loves that he does that, and a lot of people aren't willing to risk rocking the boat. But I will say this for the millionth time. A Democrat that is more in line with Donald Trump's policies, who is more charismatic, less offensive, is the best bet the Democrats have. Instead, what do we get? Liars. Liars. They're lying. And what do you want me to do? What do you want me? You want me to come out and lie to you too, just for the sake of appearing not like I'm on the left? Oh, let me try and convince everyone I actually believe in left-wing policies by lying about the economy. No. If Matthew Iglesias is going to be honest and he's running Vox, why wouldn't I? And that's a sad reality. The Democrats have no problem going up on stage and lying to your faces. So I don't see them winning because people aren't falling for it anymore. They're seeing their wages. They're seeing their tax breaks. I get it. Trump does a lot of things that are bad. You want to talk about foreign policy, man? I will go all day and night, all the time. I do it all the time. Trump has followed in the footsteps in a lot of ways of his predecessors in doing things that I find absolutely abhorrent and disgusting, and I think the guy's got attitude problems. The economy is doing really, really well, though. And so there are a lot of people in this country, they don't care about foreign policy in the same way I do, and they're going to vote for him. You want to win those people over? Stop lying to them, for one. But I'll leave it there. Stick around. I got one more segment coming up for you in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.